The Dragon Lady, so they called her, though the title was less a compliment and more a curse. She had scales that shimmered like molten bronze, wings too small to lift her properly, and eyes that burned with a fire her body could not channel. In her village, where dragons were judged by their strength, speed, and the ferocity of their roar, she was considered weak. From the day she hatched, her family whispered that she was lame. Her wings failed her in flight tests. Her roar trembled and cracked under pressure, and her claws could not rend the hardest stone like her siblings. She tried, she practiced endlessly, but every failure only strengthened her family's disdain. One harsh morning, her parents came to her. Their words were like ice cutting through her scales. "You cannot keep being a burden," her father said, his eyes devoid of warmth. "We cannot waste the village's resources on a failure. You must leave. We have arranged a buyer." The Dragon Lady, though only young, understood what this meant. Her family had sold her to another clan, trading her for supplies and favor. Her heart thundered in her chest, a wild rhythm of fear and betrayal. They are selling me," she whispered, disbelief and hurt tangling in her voice. Her mother's scales flickered in a brief, awkward apology, but the words were hollow. "It is better this way. You will find your place somewhere else. Somewhere where you are useful," her mother said. The Dragon Lady did not argue. There was no courage left for that. She allowed herself to be led, wings dangling uselessly at her sides, until she was taken to the trader's camp. There, a caravan of rough humans awaited a band of mountain dwellers known to deal in exotic creatures. Among them was a man whose presence immediately felt different from the rest. He was broad-shouldered, with calloused hands and eyes that seemed to see more than they should. "I'll buy her," the man said, and his voice was deep, resonant with authority yet soft with an unspoken kindness. The traders exchanged glances and shrugged. "She's weak. Not worth much. Take her if you want, Mountain Man." The Dragon Lady was ushered into the Mountain Man's cart, her mind a storm of sorrow and doubt. She did not speak, fearing that words would betray the anger and shame coiling inside. Her dot as the cart wound through the rocky passes of the mountains. The man finally spoke. "What's your name, little dragon?" She flinched, unaccustomed to genuine curiosity. "I am called Saphira," she murmured. "Saphira," he repeated, as if tasting the word. "Beautiful name. You are not like the others, are you?" Her eyes widened. No one had ever asked her that before. "Not really. Not without sneering or pity. I cannot fly like the others. I cannot roar like the others." "I'm lame," she admitted, the shame still clinging to her like smoke. The Mountain Man laughed, but it was warm, not mocking. "Lame? You're scared, Saphira. But that does not mean you are broken. Sometimes the world is blind to what matters most." She looked at him, unsure whether to hope or distrust, but something in his gaze, steady, unshakable, honest, made her want to believe. He settled her in a cozy cave at the edge of his mountain home. The cave was modest but safe, filled with soft moss for resting and shelves carved into stone for her to climb. Over the days, Saphira watched him move among the forest paths, tending to his land, his animals, and occasionally visiting the distant towns to trade. He spoke to her as if she were his equal, asking her opinion, involving her in decisions. And slowly, Saphira felt something she had never felt before, trust, but the scars of betrayal ran deep. She could not forget the way her family had cast her away. She kept her guard up, testing the mountain man with small lies, feigning ignorance or clumsiness, expecting him to turn away like everyone else had. And yet, he never did. One day, while exploring a hidden valley, Saphira hesitated at the edge of a cliff. The wind howled, and the ground was slippery, but the view below was breathtaking lush forests, glimmering rivers, and a sky painted in gold. She wanted to leap, but her wings were weak. Fear rooted her to the stone. The mountain man approached quietly. "Do you want to fly?" he asked. Saphira shook her head. "I cannot. My wings are useless." He knelt beside her, placing a rough, reassuring hand on her scaled shoulder. "It's not your wings that will make you soar. It's your heart. Come, trust me." Something in his voice struck a chord. She hesitated, then, trembling, she leaned against him. With his guidance, she climbed higher, and as she did, she felt a strange strength rising from within, something the village had never taught her. "Jump," he said softly, with a racing heart. Saphira leapt not, expecting to fly, but to fall. And then, miraculously, she did not crash. Her wings, small though they were, caught the wind with unexpected grace. She glided, shivering with exhilaration, and landed safely on a lower ledge. The mountain man smiled. "See, you can do what others thought impossible. Your strength is not in being like them, but in being yourself." Tears blurred Saphira's eyes. For the first time in her life, she felt valued not for what she could do, but for who she was. She realized that her family had been blind. They had measured her with the wrong yardstick. Days turned to weeks, and Saphira began to thrive in the mountains. She learned to navigate the cliffs, hunt with precision, and even train other creatures who had been abandoned or misunderstood. Her confidence grew, her wings strengthened, and her raw once timid became a resonant echo across the peaks. One evening, as the sun dipped behind the jagged ridges, Saphira turned to the mountain man. "Why did you buy me?" she asked, her voice soft but insistent. He looked at her, his eyes reflecting the fading light. "Because I saw truth in your eyes. Not the lies your family told you, not the weaknesses they feared, but the fire that they could not extinguish. You are not lame, you are exceptional, and anyone who cannot see that is not worth your sorrow." Saphira felt a warmth spread through her chest. For the first time, she truly believed it. Her family's betrayal had been cruel, but it had led her here to a life where she was seen, respected, and loved for exactly who she was. From that day onward, Saphira and the mountain man became inseparable. They built a sanctuary atop the cliffs, welcoming the misunderstood, the discarded, and the overlooked. Dragons, humans, and creatures of all kinds found refuge in their care, learning that true strength was not measured by might or beauty, but by courage, compassion, and resilience. And she soared higher than she had ever dreamed, not just with her wings, but with her spirit. And every time she glanced at the mountain man, she saw the reflection of her own strength in his unwavering eyes and knew, finally, that she had been worth every trial, every tear, and every betrayal, because sometimes the world's rejection is not the end, is the beginning of a story where the broken rise, the overlooked shine, and the heart discovers its true wings. **